right. Welcome back to Mark, a sports conversation with a difference. We are here to take you through a very hot lineup. Yeah. My name is Pali Rose. I'm going to be your host. We have Ssali and Namanya in the house, and we'll be navigating everything from Africa's biggest football tournaments to the latest European football. Okay. So stay tuned, lean back, and let's jump into it. So today's menu, we have, as usual, we have the home special. We'll be looking at the CAF and CHAN 2025 and then AFCON as well, 2027. And then we'll be going into the big abroad. We'll be looking at Pep. Yeah, so much is coming in there, so don't go. We have also Amorim. Yeah, so stay tuned to that. Then we have European football. We'll be looking at Liverpool and Madrid. We'll be looking deep into that. Then elsewhere abroad, as usual, we'll be coming to the NBA, and then back home with Mark Namanya, who will be taking us through the golf, and then we'll also be looking into City Oilers, who are gearing up for Bal. And then we'll give my pearls of wisdom, and then we'll go to the dating prediction. So now, back to the top, we have the home abroad, the home special. We have the home special. Guys, like you say, the CAF inspectors are what?
They're in town. Oh, well, they've even left town. They've even left town.
Yes.
CAF, that is the body that runs football in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, the Confederation of African Football. They have been inspecting with the venues, the three countries which are going to host the CHAN, that is Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. The same countries they actually awarded AFCON for 2027 are supposed to host CHAN next year in Feb 2025. Usually, which is a very good innovation, by the way. This one is a precursor. CHAN is usually a precursor to AFCON. It helps you to gear up, basically, to speed up your preparations for the big one. Not that it is a small one itself, it is huge, although CHAN actually involves nations using only their domestic best players, the players who play in their domestic leagues. So when it comes to Uganda Cranes, we cannot have Rogers Mato, we cannot have Aziz Kayondo. We cannot have Ismail Watenga, and also basically we are using the players who play in the Uganda Premier League.
Bevis Mugabe.
Bevis Mugabe cannot be there, but Jude Mugabe can be, because of that Chitara. So you can have Mato, but you can have De Somedo because of that Chitara. And you have Hakim Chiwanuka from Villa and Said Maida from KCCA. Those kinds will be the ones to represent us.
Uganda from SC Villa.
Yeah, goalkeeper Tuwalibu from KCCA as well. I'd like to mention an express name, but I don't know which one is going to make that cut. Never mind. So CAF has been inspecting. They are quite stringent on the rules. They set rules and regulations for these tournaments, and the standards actually that they set for you to be able to qualify as a host nation and for the tournament to actually go on. And so the inspections that they do for the nations that they've granted the rights to host surround largely four things. That's the stadiums themselves, the host stadiums, and then the training grounds, because they have to have training grounds for the teams as well as for the match officials and all. And then also the hotels and the airport or airports. In the case of CHAN, we are only using one stadium as Uganda, that's Nambole, and only one airport in Entebbe. But when it will come to AFCON 2027, they will require that we have another stadium ready, which will be Hoima City, and they will require that another airport is ready, which is within the vicinity of Hoima Stadium, and Hoima Airport is also almost ready. So
I think we'll be ready then.
We'll be ready then, yeah. But so the worry now is CHAN now, because this is only in Feb. We are 3 months away, and we know that we've actually had a few issues with meeting the deadlines as far as that preparation is concerned. So CAF were in town. They've now shifted to Tanzania for the next 3 days, and then they'll wind up in Kenya. We know that Nambole, CAF has passed Nambole as standard stadium to be able to host the CHAN. But it's the training grounds were actually where we have challenges. We don't have challenges with our hotels because we have many of those. And then we've got a good airport in Entebbe Airport. It's functional. It's been recently renovated, but it's functional. I don't think there'll be problems there. The problems were with the training grounds largely, and that is because the ones that have been identified as the training grounds to use were all not ready yet. We should be fine by Feb. I am hoping we will be. But Chambogo training ground, which is being worked on by government, UPDF are the contractors there, is not ready yet. And of course, there's been some financial constraints regarding that contract and the construction works. But hopefully, that will be unlocked. I'm sure that once the discussions get into cabinet and parliament, they should be able to find some money so that project can go on. There's also Makere ground, which is not ready. Kadiba, which is a FIFA project, that's not government, is not ready either. I think the one to quickly get ready as far as CHAN preparations are concerned is the outer Nambole pitch, because that one is already, most of the work there was done. One of the things, of course, they require from these training grounds, they've got to be standard, first of all, as far as the turf is concerned and dimensions and everything. But also, they've got to have several other additions, if you like, for them to be passed as a CAF standard. One of those is a fence. The other is the lighting. The other is the changing rooms, dressing rooms, and everything that comes with that. And so those have got to be worked on.
I think Nambole ticks the boxes.
Everything
you mentioned.
Yeah.
The one challenge which the stadium management has been working on together with the brigade has been that provision for the disabled. It's one of the critical areas for the CAF inspectors. And Mark, we've traveled all over the world. We've watched games at the highest level. There's already a section for the disabled. World Cup, FIFA, Champions League, Premier League, and name it. So that is something which is obviously a bit of a new thing to the Ugandan mindsets. But we're dealing now with CAF and not Uganda. And if you watch the game against South Africa, there were some provisions which were in the making, some metallic structures which were on either side of the main stand, should I call it the main pavilion?
Yes. So I saw those. Yeah. So the guys were wheeling their chairs into there.
Absolutely. So it's a very, very important requirement.
By the way,
for the modern.
It's a challenge for Ugandan society, not just football and sport.
Really?
Yeah. So many architectural designs from the past and even recent times did not accommodate ramps, bathrooms, and things for the disabled. The specialized ramps and everything. And now architects are only beginning to actually accommodate those in our structures.
In the public structures, you get to, and I'll tell you, like if you're in Europe, you'd rather park anywhere else, but do not park in a disabled zone.
Yeah.
Because the penalty for parking in a disabled zone is quite very, very
serious. Yes.
But we don't have any such thing here. I'm saying disabled parking zones which are usually frequented by people who are not disabled. And it's one of those things which will require a cultural change.
It's a mindset change from our society.
Yeah.
And then so that it starts with architectural design, goes into enforcement, and then just general discipline of us as a people.
Yeah.
A huge mindset change. Yeah. But yes, so we actually, if we were to host CHAN tomorrow, we probably would not be ready. But I believe that by February we should be. The CAF reports progressively, I think, are getting better.
And of course,
from the first time they came.
Obviously, as a Ugandan, I'm very excited because we're entering very uncharted waters. This is the first time Uganda is hosting a tournament of this magnitude. Mm-hmm. Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. So there are many things which are a learning process. I remember when South Africa was going to host 2010, the 2010 World Cup. There was so much cynicism from the Western media, and they wrote all sorts of rubbish about South Africa's preparations, which were born out of ignorance. Because when I had been to South Africa in the build-up to 2010, it was very, very apparent that this is a country which had the resources and they had the expertise to be ready. Of course, most of the Western world didn't embrace the idea of a first African World Cup, and I've got to give it to Sepp Blatter for pushing all boundaries to make sure that Africa hosted this first World Cup. So even for Uganda, with all the experience I have, and I'm sure for Mark as well, you're not going to expect Uganda to be as ready, say, as an Egypt, as a Morocco, because this is new ground for this region. But I believe with all these various inspections and the works that are ongoing, I think the country will be ready.
Yeah, it's and Mark, which is why Paula was saying it's a very good thing then that you have a CHAN to host before you host the AFCON, because it helps you to learn these things. However ready you are in boardrooms, in meetings, and in everything on the ground, you are going to realize. I was in Ghana for the All Africa Games earlier this year in March. And I'm telling you, watching from up close, because I was staying in the Games Village this time, watching from up close, I was going to every venue, and I was in the Games Village with all the athletes and everything. So I saw the dynamics of, say, just small things, managing 300 drivers, just that. The guys who are supposed to be taking different teams and different officials and everything to different venues, from hotels or from the village to venues and back and things like that. Just that little bit, I'm telling you, is a tough ask.
Yeah,
and yet there's so many things here. We had the Uganda cranes stuck in traffic before the game against South Sudan.
Yeah, I think that's I mean that's and this is the Uganda cranes. Stuck in traffic for a match at Nambole.
Yeah.
You know, so all these are learning experiences.
The kinds of things,
You can be sure that we're going to have to employ a park and ride system, which FIFA have impressed.
Yes.
It worked very, very successfully at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Russia didn't need it because Russia's infrastructure is way ahead of what South Africa had and still has. But the Qataris employed it because it's a smaller country, a smaller city. So you're not going to have all the vehicles around the stadium. So people had to park cars in distant places and all bought buses, which were accredited buses to be granted entry into the stadium. We definitely have to have something of the nature of the kind of
because we have a train that runs between Kampala and Namanya.
Yes.
The one that has been used on 1 or 2 match days actually now.
Yeah.
I've seen MTN and FIFA have been promoting that actually, even with subsidized prices and tickets and all. That kind of thing you need. We're going to have to streamline that. By the time we get AFCON, stuff like that should be
actually one of the possibilities. One of the things which I think will have to be enforced is that on match days, I'm most certain this will be employed probably for CHAN and even for Pamoja in 2027. When you host the actual thing, you're going to have to block one of the lanes on the northern bypass and make it strictly for officials, teams, and all the traffic, which is also for the game. It's inconveniencing for the locals, but in London, 2012, I covered the games, London 2012, and they blocked. There were so many lanes. Actually, there was a lane which was called the Olympic lane for only Olympic officials, for athletes, for accredited vehicles. The locals didn't like it. It was inconveniencing, but when you're going to host some of these legacy events, there's got to be a bit of inconveniencing for
absolutely. When I was at the Olympics in Beijing in 2018, and cars, because virtually every Chinese city has over 20 million people.
Yeah.
The major ones, the big ones.
Yeah.
So cars were restricted into coming into Beijing city because of the Olympics. You can imagine the locals, you're over 20 million people, but they said today, from UAA to UAC are the only cars allowed into Beijing. So from UAD to UAZ cannot come in. That's the cost. That kind of thing. So the inconveniences.
That's the price.
The locals have to be sensitized about those kinds of things.
That's the price. And after all, there's going to be some good of forex, which is going to pour into the economy. So you can't have your cake and eat it.
No, you can't. You can't. It's amazing. By the time a major tournament looks beautiful on TV, the amount of work that has gone into that.
It's quite a lot.
Look, the last AFCON in Ivory Coast ranks perhaps as the best ever in Africa. Yeah, I'm telling you, these guys did a great job. So ideally, if you're the next host like Morocco or the next host to them, you have got to be there and see for yourself. The amount of work the Ivorians did from infrastructure itself. That stadium, I think, that hosted the final, what is it called? What? That stadium was brand new, and its modernity is at the level of the San Siro, the recently done Barabu, or whatever. I'm not joking. It's that serious. And they had new stadiums everywhere. They had renovated ones like the Hofabanye, but in Yamoussoukro and Bokate. Yeah. They had new stadiums. So from that, then
you're hosting fans from just about each and every part of Africa. You're going to have South Africans here. You're going to have Zambians here. You're going to have Angolans here. You're going to have Ghanaians here, Nigerians here, Moroccans here. Egyptians, and name it. And then beyond that, you're going to have some European tourists who will actually come and enjoy the bonanza that is the African population. So there's got to be some bit of inconvenience. And to cater for that inconvenience, there's going to be sufficient planning, sufficient communication, way in time. Out of the tournaments, and then everything.
Sensitizing locals, but also the hiring and training of manpower.
Absolutely.
A lot of it voluntary. That is a very, very important thing. The number of people, the number of boots on the ground you need just to pull this off so it's organized is a lot. And then also it's got to be synchronized. People have got to actually be trained and sensitized because they're coming into things they've never done and all. It's a tough ask, but I believe but it's a good experience for Uganda. You need that challenge. You need to rise up to that challenge, and then in 2027 we'll be all right.
And maybe one last thing, Mark. There's obviously been so much skepticism. It's typically a Ugandan thing, and Mark, you've said this so many times. The countries which have hosted AFCON before, the Malis and Burkina Faso,
yes,
and Equatorial Guineas,
yes,
and the Gabons. We've been to these countries, and there's nothing spectacular about them.
Nah.
Uganda we offer a lot more for tourists, for football enthusiasts, for those who enjoy a glamorous nightlife, and many other things. We even have much better weather. So if those countries could host AFCON, and then Uganda, why not? Uganda offers a lot more. You go to Burkina Faso and you just want to board your plane out of Ouagadougou.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's nothing. You just come for a game and you just can't wait for the enemies to end, and then you board back the plane to Entebbe. There's just about nothing. And I'm saying nothing in upper case.
Okay. Now, with that said, let's go to the big abroad of now, guys. I don't know. Do you think Pep is facing the sun? I don't think so, because he would probably start sitting for the sun. I'm sure he walks with Etihad head held high with his jumpers. His
well, Pep has never been in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
Never. And I'm not talking about the losses, which are well documented. He's lost how many games? Five on the bounce. No. But Pep has never been at the club for this long. And I don't know whether it's taking a toll on him. We've documented Man City's problems and the injuries they've suffered, and the confidence crisis and all. And some have speculated that it has everything to do with Rodri, because ever since Rodri got the Ballon d'Or, they haven't won a single game. But Pep hasn't been in a situation where he's had to build and rebuild a team, because this City team, I don't want to go as far as saying they've reached the end of their cycle, but it's human nature that when you've won so much, they've won the Carabao, they've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League 4 years in a row. You just wonder, what more are you going to do to make the team hungry? Sir Alex Ferguson's greatest strength was building teams, breaking down teams, and building new ones. And people took it for granted, but it wasn't very easy, because I remember when he was letting Van Nistelrooy go and various other players, it looked...
Beckham,
Stam, and many other guys before them, Andre Kashlenkis and the likes. They looked very, very controversial decisions, but this was a man who was patient, who had faith in the project he was doing, and he knew that it was going to take time, but he was willing to buy time and give chance to certain other players. So, Pep is in a very unfamiliar territory. We know that at Barcelona, he had a team which was arguably one of the greatest there's ever been. And in fairness to him, he left it, went to the top. He went to a Bayern team where, probably anyone. The two Max can probably coach Bayern to win the Bundesliga. He didn't quite win the Champions League at Bayern despite playing very semi-finals. So for a man of his technical tactical brilliance, I won't call it a blot or a blemish on his CV, but there's nothing accomplished at Bayern because Bayern had anyway been the best team in the Bundesliga for quite some time. So it's at City where he built a team in his image, signed players, and I think actually Pep did most of his actual legacy, his true legacy, is at City. Now we do not know whether Pep can actually pick this team up from this road. They definitely won't win the league this season. They've had many issues on and off the pitch. They've had the injuries. They've had the FFP issues, and we do not know whether there'll be docked points from by the Premier League, which would mean that maybe some of the championships they won previously are taken off them. And they've had so many injuries. You have players, who knows, just maybe, players like Kevin De Bruyne are beginning to hit the end of their cycle because KDB has been arguably the best player in Pep's reign, with all due respect to what Haaland has achieved. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. But City are stuck in a rut.
They are, yeah. And in football, you can never say never. You would never have thought ever that you'd mention the words Sark and Pep in the same sentence, ever. He left places which he did when he wanted to, and took sabbaticals when people still wanted him around and everything. And it's unthinkable right now that City can even contemplate sacking him, even if he has lost 5 on a trot, and his next game is up against Liverpool, which threatens to make it 6 on the trot because Liverpool are in great form. But there's nothing impossible in football. These things happen. There was a time when Jose Mourinho was where Pep is now. Invincible, untouchable at the top of the coaching game and all. Different era, different times, different styles, but he had that aura of invincibility about him when he was in charge. He got sacked, and he's been sacked 4 times since that time. so much so that he's now in the Turkish league.
And for a manager of Mourinho's stature, coaching Fenerbahce is like second tier.
Exactly.
He's coached Chelsea and Man United, and
this is the man when he first came into football was called himself the special one, being sacked by a club like Roma in Italy, which was his second last assignment before this current
and being sacked by Spurs.
By Spurs, yeah. So that's a bit laughable. But yeah, so even with Pep, it can happen. The thing though is that when Mark talks about, and I've heard it a lot about winners' fatigue. They've won so much. End of cycle. Mental fatigue. They need to reboot and everything. You can see where everybody's coming from with that, and it's understandable. But down to the specifics, and because everybody who says that is looking at the bigger picture, but down to the specifics, because this is a season in which Pep can still be very competitive. Yes. Yeah, of course, he has the chance to win the cups. He's been knocked out of the Carabao already, which he might call good riddance under the circumstances. Spurs knocked him out of there. It was one of the 5 losses he has lost, actually. 2 of them have come against Spurs. But regardless of that run, Man City remains second in the table, in the Premiership. Chelsea and Arsenal have not managed to overtake them, even in this bad run. Liverpool, who are on top of them, will have their own blip. They haven't had one yet. Chelsea and Man City, Arsenal are probably in the middle of one. November hasn't been kind to them. Chelsea haven't quite had one yet. Those are teams which you expect will perhaps continue. City can recover from this. Even when you're Pep Guardiola, which is what I've been trying to tell fans when I'm trying to be specific. Even when you're Pep Guardiola, there's no team at the top tier of competition in Europe that can operate without their central axis. Now, the central axis in football is the line from one goal to the other vertically through the middle of the pitch, which if you do it virtually, through the middle of the pitch, from one goal mouth to the other, that line in the middle of the pitch, the players who operate in and around it are the most important to teams in a football game. That's not to diminish the roles of fullbacks who are wider, or wingers, or a second striker, and all their players who operate out of that axis. who are very important as well and who have won championships for teams. But the players in the central axis are the most important in a football game. From the goalkeeper, who's in that line, directly in that line if you draw it, to the central defenders who are just on either side of that line, the holding midfielders, double pivot, if either one or two, the central midfielders who are there, the creative player who stands in front of those two, and then the striker. So in City's in the 5 games City have lost on the trot, and in the others which they struggled in just before because they won some dodgy ones, only 2 of those 7 players have been available to Pep. That's the goalkeeper Ederson. Actually, he wasn't even for 1 or 2 of them. Ortega was in goal. For goalkeeper Ederson and Erling Haaland at the top of that pile. Everybody else in the middle is missing. Ruben Diaz and John Stones. Their importance to City, because we take it for granted when City have all their players. The way they play, they don't have to defend that much. They're always attacking and all. Now we realize that the importance of Ruben Diaz and John Stones cannot be underestimated. They're not there, and Pep has had to chop and change in the middle. Today it's Akanji, the other day it's Ake and all. They are not Stones, they are not Diaz. And it shows. Even in the leadership, never mind just the play, but the leadership as well. Then Rodri, he's just talked about the Ballon. This is the man who has won the Ballon d'Or against all odds. The one man this team can't do without, or any team in the world, if they had a player that good, couldn't do without. He's not been playing. And so now the guy who was deputizing for him, Mateo Kovacic, is also out injured, couldn't play against Spurs. And then Kevin De Bruyne, he just talked about him, perhaps the most important creative player in the Premiership over the last 7 years, has not been playing either. And in this Spurs game, he only came on for the last 2 minutes. He's still not fit. He's reaching the end of his tether, but a fit De Bruyne flying at half-mast is better than most playmakers in the Premiership, apart from maybe Odegaard and Bruno Fernandes. Everybody else is second best to Kevin De Bruyne on one leg. And he's not there, he's not playing. So they're missing all those guys. I mean, even if you're Pep with all your millions, it's how do you win football games without that?
Mark, I think we've got to, it's at points like this when you question the wisdom of Man City letting go of Julian Alvarez.
Yeah,
because
I don't know what that was about. Yeah.
I mean, Erling Haaland, for his absolute brilliance, was bound to hit a certain skid.
A dry patch. Every striker has one.
And the reason why people forget that last season, for like 2 or so months, City played without KDB and Haaland. But because they had Alvarez scoring the goals, you didn't quite miss them, you know. And right now, short of Haaland, you struggle to see where City's goals are going to come from. I thought he was unlucky against Spurs.
He could have got a hat-trick.
He could have got a hat-trick. He was hitting the crossbar. He was forcing the goalkeeper into saves. But the thing is, outside of Haaland, I struggle to see where City's goals are going to come from. I mean, when he's on fire, and he started the season on fire with, I think, I don't know how many, 8 goals in the first 4 games.
Yeah, he's got 12 already.
He's got 12 already. But now, without him, I just wonder why City catching Alvarez. Not so many teams in world football had a striker like Julian Alvarez coming off the bench.
I suspect it had something to do with the FFP you just mentioned. FFP is the FIFA Fair Play, which is about you balancing your books, so that clubs in Europe are stopped from spending more money than they actually make, than they literally make. You're only supposed to be able to spend a percentage of what you make out of your television rights money, out of your ticket sales and things like that, and your sponsorship deals and all. But because European football was invaded, if you like, by all these multi-billionaires, individuals with lots of money to spend, who don't mind how much they spend as long as we are using these as tools, toys. And then, of course, they're strategic toys. They're playthings, but they also enhance their legacies. They sports wash them if they like. They clean their images and their money and everything for them. But these guys have the ability to spend a lot more than these clubs genuinely make. And so it was making competition unfair, so FIFA came up with these rules. Now, one of those reasons is selling Alvarez for 80 million plus, I think helped Man City, who are very big spenders, actually balance their books. But it was a bad loss to them. And of course, I said, apart from the central axis, they've also been missing the guys who you might not think are very important until they're not there. The wide men, Doku and Grealish, for example, on one side, and Savini on the other. They've been in and out of the team, Doku is out at the moment and all. They need those. That every time you need your depth of squad to be able to compete, and City don't have it at the moment. I don't feel sorry for them. Nobody should, but that's the reality.
I don't feel.
Yeah, I mean, if you're that rich,
I don't feel sorry for City.
yeah. There you are.
So we have Ruben Amorim. You know, his debut has gotten a lot of hype, yeah? But I don't know if he has what it takes to make an impact on the European stage.
Early days, I thought United's best player against Ipswich was the goalkeeper. Onana, he made some very spectacular saves. I thought Ipswich played a better football. United took the lead after 81 seconds. Quite a very good goal. A brilliant strike on a counter. Fantastic combination play between Ahmad and Marcus Rashford. But I think that was just about the only bright thing for United's game in the opening half. They had the chances on the counter. Garnacho wasted one or two, but I thought Ipswich played like a team coached by Ruben Amorim. And United didn't quite look like a team that has changed hinges, so to speak. So, in fairness, it's early days. There was a lot of hype and expectation around this game, and United is still a work in progress. Obviously, you have players who need some time to understand the new manager. It was very, very evident in his gesticulations on the touchline. And I think for Amorim, it was important not to lose the opening game, given the confidence crisis that the club has suffered this early. But also, it was a reward for the hard work that Kieran McKenna has done at Ipswich. Ipswich were very, very, very good. Yeah. They were pressing high. They were moving the ball very, very well, creating chances. They had all this confidence about them, and they felt that the United was there for the taking. I thought that, but for Nana, United could have lost. By more than a goal.
Yeah. Now I'll move on from
and I'll give credit to Mark because he didn't think that.
You remember the previous episodes when I was saying, guys, there might be an anticlimax here. Ipswich might cause a few problems and all, and I thought so. But here are the positives for me. One was that. When I see all the rage and then the reservations now and the regrets and everything on the different media platforms about United and Amorim and a bit of a dampening of spirit, so a realization of how big the task is, that makes me happy, because at United you're set up by the entire football environment in the UK and around the world to fail. You're elevated only to be knocked down. And the hype Amorim had, the aura with which he walked into the club, the articulation in his interviews, the confidence of the man and the happiness of the players and everything suggested that this guy was going to just come in there and start winning things and all. And so the expectations shot through the roof. So thankfully for Amorim, that has been dampened, so the pressure can reduce a little bit. But there's two other positives for me. One is in some of the things I saw in a new system being executed. Like Amorim was saying, players looked afraid and everything. It's tough having to change and play totally differently from how we've been playing. And so it was difficult for them. 3 at the back, a double pivot and 2 wing backs. And no wingers anymore, because guys have to. There's an attacking 3, which is narrower than in the 4-3-3 of ATH and most of the other previous managers at United and all around the world. You have a striker who is the point man, and then 2 wide players who are virtually like wingers but come inside and score. The Garnachos and Ahmads, the Sakas and Martinellis. They
operating inside the channels.
The Salas and Diaz's. Now, in this 4-3-3 of Ruben Amorim, because you have 2 wing backs who are supposed to be given the freedom up and down that pitch, the wingers are supposed to come inside and operate as narrower. Now, that is where I liked what I saw, because Garnacho and Ahmad are guys who I expect that are supposed to come in and play as 2 10s behind the lead striker. But because Bruno is present, he's one of the 10s, and so the second one was Garnacho. Now, Garnacho had enough not chances in front of goal, but enough inroads into the Ipswich defense when United won the ball for him to win the game for United, even if they didn't deserve to win. So that gives me that once a guy like Garnacho, once a guy like Ahmad, once they adjust to how to play narrower in that 3-4-3 and get to grips with not hugging the touchline and everything, they're going to find themselves closer to goal. Is easier to shoot with both feet and all, rather than coming in, having to cut in from the wide, from the flank, and everybody knowing you're going to bend it and all. They'll have more options of where to shoot and how to shoot. They'll be in easier positions to score and everything once you have to get to grips with this Amorim system. Of course, and I'd said it even here before, maybe on another forum. I thought Ahmad would make that adjustment easier because his style suits coming inside as a 10 with his left foot than Garnacho's. But Ahmad was played as a wing back under the circumstances. And that takes me to my third positive. The second positive was, apart from the dampening of spirits, was that I saw that once guys get to grips with the system, they will beat up teams because it will be difficult for them to win. Actually, even if the system was a bit different, it was a 3-5-2. This one is a 3-4-3. But Antonio Conte came into England and played the back three and won the championship in his first year with Chelsea. The pressure is different, the scrutiny is different. You allowed more time for people to settle into it. At United, you don't have that time. But if United learn this, they'll be as difficult to defend against as Chelsea were at that time when Moses all of a sudden looked like a world-class player. the Nigerian Englishman, and all because he was playing in the system, people need to come to
and all. But Mark,
that positive. I'm going to finish that positive after you.
Yeah, but what is everything you've said? It's very, very apparent that Amorim will have to make some tough decisions and release some players, because I mean his system is so intense that I don't know if Casemiro will have the legs over a season to play. Obviously, Kobeman would slot in seamlessly because of age.
That's where I was coming.
But then people like Zakzi, I have my misgivings, Mark, and well.
Yeah, that's where I was coming, Mark. With Zakzi and Casemiro, by the way, I think you nailed it on the head. But where I was coming to is the third positive for me was that actually this was not United's best team out there for Amorim. With the new system, he operated largely with guys he found available at Carrington, training and fit, but not playing international football because he came in during the international break. So he had to work with those. But once everybody's to grips with this system one and also fit, some of those guys are not his starters. Johnny Evans was only a starter in there because he doesn't play for Northern Ireland anymore. And he was fit and available on the training ground to be in the back three. Otherwise, that back three, all know that Delete was the only guy who will stay from the team that played against Ipswich. Once Lenny Yoro and Martinez are back, those guys will be on either side of Delete in a much stronger back three. If you have Martinez and Yoro, you've got more pace, you've got more ability to tackle, you've got more intelligence football-wise, and things like that. Then, of course, Mark talks about Casemiro. Once Amorim has his full team and all, I don't think Casemiro is necessarily the starter in that double pivot. That double pivot, I think, is Ugarte and Mainu to play. Casemiro and Eriksen, the guys who started there, are on their last legs. Very intelligent players, very experienced. Of course, they know their way about, and this system helps cover them more than ATH's system, where they were exposed for lack of pace, and all every time United lost the ball, they were laboring to get back. This system of of Amorim, has other players closer to them to help bridge the gaps in case we lost the ball or in case they had to cover up spaces or tackle men. Because it brings people closer. It's more compact, four, and the other three are chasing and the other three are up. So they would survive Casemiro and Eriksen if everybody was playing, but they wouldn't be the first choice. And neither will Ahmad be playing as a wing back. When everybody is fit, Ahmad will most likely be playing as one of the front three, and then Mazraoui and Dallo, who are the more natural wing backs in United, will play there. So Ahmad, I was sitting with Mark and another friend of ours during the game, who kept complaining as to how many times Ahmad looked like the last man when Ipswich were attacking us, and he was saying, this can't be. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that it was only because of the circumstances. Next time, that will actually not be him, but a proper fullback. And our fullbacks, thankfully, Dallo and Mazrui, are actually wing backs. They play well as wing backs, so they will cover there. So that's the third positive I have from there. So not too many worries and not too much panic. I think I saw some United fans already pressing panic buttons. Come on.
All right, so on to European football. Our biggest act this week, the headlines, we have Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Okay, so these are two giants who are about to get into the Champions League. And trust me, you don't want to miss that, okay? So let's unpack that and see how.
Well, always a massive game. Liverpool and Real Madrid, if I'm not mistaken, have won the most Champions League titles. AC Milan have something to say about it.
Yeah, Milan is still second.
Yeah,
Madrid,
second,
yeah. Liverpool enjoy a close third.
Liverpool are a close third. And those are the aristocrats of European football, Real Madrid and Liverpool. And that is always a massive, massive game, regardless of the form of either team. This time around, Real Madrid, for the first time, looked like the Real Madrid were champions of Europe and the champions of Spain. They were emphatic over the weekend. Jude Bellingham on the score sheet, along with Kylian Mbappe. We haven't seen that sort of thing this season. I think it was the first time Bellingham and Mbappe were on the score sheet on the in the same match. But I think Liverpool are playing the best team in Europe, in the whole of Europe. They have a wave of belief which has been carrying them. They have so many goals in there. Luis Diaz, Mo Salah. You have Cody Gakpo who's been scoring goals. You have the odd ones coming in from Darwin Núñez, and I mean the ball is flowing for a team which is under a manager who's just taken over the reins in how many 4 or 5 seasons, and I think Real Madrid will do very well. Will have a reason to approach this game with caution because Liverpool can't punish you. They have goals in them. It will be interesting to see. To see the tactical setup for Carlo Ancelotti because he's not one to sit back. He's not one to be cautious, especially given the kind of arsenal he has at his disposal. And yet, this Liverpool team are very happy to sit back and pounce you on the counter attack because they've got so much firepower. When they don't have the ball, they can punish you or they can move that ball in 3-4 seconds to the opposing goal. Mo Salah is playing like 2 years of age. He doesn't look like he's been at Liverpool for that long, tearing defenders on the left side of midfield. So, and remember Liverpool, I think unbeaten. They've won all their games in the Champions League, and they have no reason to be intimidated by Real Madrid. The thing, though, is that history tends to favor Real Madrid against Liverpool in the Champions League. And,
it does.
And if there's one team which can beat Real Madrid, which can beat Liverpool any night and day in this competition, it's Real Madrid.
It's Madrid, yeah, because virtually most teams cannot. Yeah, and Liverpool, even in recent times, have actually lost 2 Champions League finals.
Yeah.
To Real Madrid.
Yeah.
In recent times,
yeah.
When they were at the peak of their powers under Jurgen Klopp. So Madrid do have their number. The thing is, Madrid actually need these points. Madrid have already fought.
Unlike Liverpool.
Yeah, they lost to Lille, and who was it? Borussia Dortmund. They've already lost in the Champions League.
Yeah, they beat Dortmund, but they lost to Lille, and I think
Monaco?
they staggered somewhere there.
They probably have lost to 2 French teams actually. Now that if I try and may recall, but the thing is, they need points. The Champions League new format.
They lost to AC Milan.
AC Milan, yeah, it was AC Milan, yeah. The Champions League new format, like we talked about it, is one in which you don't have different groups in which 2 teams can sneak through and all. It is a 36-team table, 8 of whom go straight to the knockout stages, and another 16 go into playoffs against each other in one of playoff games to make the last 16. Liverpool is outside of those brackets at the moment. Real Madrid are outside of those brackets at the moment, and they badly need points. The draw is such that you don't face a team home and away. You play some teams at home, others away. So 4 home away games, 4 home games, 8 games in which to make the knockout, and they're running out of games to actually make the knockout rounds. Real Madrid. So they've got to step it up, and unfortunately for them, like Mark is saying, and I agree, they're going to the most informed team in Europe to try and get those points here. Perhaps the other, most informed is contentious between Liverpool and Inter Milan because Inter Milan are literally positively on fire.
But I think Mark is talking about Liverpool, and I know we've seen Mo Salah do so much for Liverpool over the years. He's torn defenders to shreds. He's scored many goals, many assists. Mo Salah is playing the best football I've seen him playing in his career.
It's unbelievable. The things
and he's in his 30s.
The things Salah has done, he did it during the Klopp era. For him to set the records that he did, this is actually a guy who's climbing up the Premiership table or scoring charts and
even scoring assists.
To the point that he wants. He's looking at being second all time.
And for a long time, I thought Salah was competing at the level of Messi and Ronaldo. It's just that he wasn't called Messi or Ronaldo and wasn't playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Yeah.
But he was competing somewhere to a level close to them at their peak. Right now, they're not there. I struggle to think of anyone who's playing better football than Salah in Europe today.
In Europe, well, Vinicius Junior until this recent knock is somebody who could lay claim to that.
I'm talking about this season. This
season, Vinicius has already been on fire by the way.
This season. But not to Salah's level.
And there's a few other guys.
Vinny has been playing well, but not to Salah's level.
Yeah, there's a few other guys playing well down in Italy as well.
Jokeres has been scoring goals for Sporting Lisbon, obviously.
Jokeres is literally on fire. But Liverpool's strength under Slot for me go well beyond Salah's abilities, and Salah has surprised me because we thought that out of the door with Klopp might be Salah and Virgil van Dijk for Slot to start on a clean slate with the younger players that Klopp had signed and then to have replacements of those. But Salah is even looking like somebody who is saying, give me one more year. We thought he would be in the Saudi Pro League by now. It looks like he's postponing that. But the guys, where it has surprised me with Slot is in how he has rejigged the Liverpool midfield to the point now that the most two important players in there were not first choice under Klopp. And that is Ryan Gravenberch, the Dutchman, and Curtis Jones, the Englishman, who is playing so well this season that he's forced himself into the England squad. Not only the England squad, but actually the England team that is playing. The last two internationals, actually, Curtis Jones was a starter for England there. So that's how well those two have played. And you'd have thought it would be Alexis McAllister and Szoboszlai and all to dominate in there, but these two actually have been proved more important to them in that setup. But Madrid themselves, the opportunities to improve are there. They've got some injuries. They have to contend with changing the system in which Bellingham was a superstar last year, scoring loads of goals when they didn't have a number 9, where Vinicius and Rodrigo are creating room for him to get forward into the 6-yard area as a false 9 and score. Mbappe has occupied that space, and they were struggling to understand each other between the three of them, Vinicius, Mbappe, and Bellingham, when it started. That is easing up and getting better. But the other adjustment they've made, which I've loved, is the one that has taken Federico Valverde from the role he had to actually filling Toni Kroos's shoes, because Kroos, the German who was retired, Toni Kroos, actually left a gap, a hole you thought was too big to bridge for Madrid, but they're doing that really well. And of course, they've had the squad. Tchouaméni is not playing, Camavinga's only back from injury, and all. They've got the squad Madrid to recover and compete. And this makes for an alley. This is where the rejigging of the Champions League that UEFA did actually then turns out to be good, because it has thrown games like this in our faces.
There's a potential final.
Yeah,
that's a potential final.
I think we also have a game between PSG and Bayern, but we'll see that in the predictions. Yeah.
Okay, so now we on to elsewhere abroad. Let's talk NBA, guys. The season has just started, but already we have some drama during that.
Well, the Boston Celtics beat the Cavs. Cavs are still winning, but eventually their unbeaten record was ended by the Celtics in a game which was quite a thriller. I think for the Cavs, there's no shame in losing to the champions. I think Celtics have looked the part as the defending champions. Jason Tatum is playing very, very solid ball. We know, and the Cavs, the Celtics have actually been doing very well, even without Kristaps Porzingis, who is a very integral part of their team. We know that they also have the MVP.
Yeah,
Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. It's amazing how they play. They look like they set every play of theirs to end with a 3-point shot. and they shoot the lights out. When the shot is falling, they are unplayable.
They look like they are shades of the Death Warriors lineup.
Yes, yeah.
In the way they are setting up the plays for the threes and how they are nailing them.
They're unplayable, yeah. But like I was saying, even in earlier episodes, it helps them keep healthy. They're not getting into too many physical battles, even if they have the players to be able to do that.
And like we said, Mark, I know this is going to sound like a broken record, but the thing is, the team which wins the NBA is always the healthiest team.
Healthiest team, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the best team, but it's the healthiest team.
The healthiest team will win,
because
yeah.
you take Jokic out of the Nuggets, that's it. There's no championship. You take Tatum out of the Celtics, there's no championship. With all respect to Jaylen Brown.
Exactly, yeah.
Take Steph out of the Warriors, and there's no championship.
Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic is now out injured and they're struggling. Kyrie stepped up and helped them win a game earlier.
They'll win 2-3 odd games in the regular season.
But you miss the big boys.
You miss the big boy, yeah.
Which is why the Sixers have been struggling without Embiid and Paul George and on the lower end of the table rather than on top of it. But the Celtics, yes, they're keeping themselves healthy because they're not getting into too much physical confrontation. Well, they can get physical if you want. I mean, Drew Holiday and all these guys, they're physical enough if you want them to be. But they're not doing that because...
I mean, if the ball is moving, the way it's moving...
The ball is moving, they're shooting the basketball.
You're not going to...
But so are the Warriors, by the way. Sorry, the Warriors right now are top of the Western Conference.
They're playing very well.
Who would have thought that we would be speaking about the Warriors
the Warriors,
as a big one?
The Warriors are playing.
Remember when the argument I had with Mark he was talking about them as play-in. 9-10, they are 8-9-10 seed. They are number one.
Mark, it's still November. And it's still December. There's still January.
Yeah, no.
And many things.
82 games to play. They've only played on 20. But yeah, it's an interesting NBA.
And for the Warriors, obviously, we didn't know what was going to become of them after Klay Thompson left. But I've loved how they've gone back to the Warriors fundamentals. I think Buddy Hield has been a wonderful addition.
They're calling him a splash buddy because they can't call him a splash brother.
Splash buddy.
But it's the splash buddy who replaced Klay Thompson.
And I love the other pieces.
Shooting even more threes than Steph.
Garrett Payton, the second. I like Moses Moody. I mean, they've been shades of the old.
Podziemski, they have the deepest bench in the NBA right now, and the guys are almost as good as the guys who start. Actually, that bench is averaging more than 50 points a game.
Yeah.
It's only the second time in entire NBA history that a bench has done that. They are around the 55-point mark now. They're at 58. Imagine a bench producing 58 points per game.
And I think, I think
it's amazing.
I think now is the time, and what I'm going to say borders on ridiculous. But I think we've got to acknowledge Steph Curry as a truly all-time great.
Yeah.
Because yes, he's won 4 championships. Yes, he's the greatest shooter of all time. But everything the Warriors does starts with Steph Curry. The ball movement, the rotation, the way he destroys defenses. I mean, you cannot guard Steph Curry. I mean, he's always on the run. And even when he leaves, even if he runs a bad shooting night, he may go 2 for 10 from the 3-point line. The amount of work he's done in damaging the opponent.
It just breaks you down.
It's just breaks you down.
It's too much of a load on the best defender on the other team and on the rest of the team. Yeah, running in and out of screens, chasing after a guy who won't stop running, a guy who's more dangerous without the ball than with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough on anybody. But for Steph, at this age, to be playing like this.
After 4 championships, having won everything, Olympics.
After Klay has left.
After Klay has
left. Green's productivity.
I mean, it's incredible. One of the reasons I thought the Warriors would be a team bordering on 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th was because I didn't think Steph had it in him to carry that franchise after Klay Thompson left, having played with Klay for all this long his career. But I mean, he's proven to be a genuine franchise.
He's that good.
Okay.
All right, now coming back home, we have Mark Namanya who will be talking golf with us, and of course the City Oilers as well.
Wales.
I'll talk City Oilers. Let him talk the golf, yeah.
Wales to start, but first and foremost, this week had 3 important tournaments. So you had the MTN monthly tea in Entebbe, and then you had the centenary, the Lugazi Open, a centenary tournament, which was hosted by Meta because they're marking 100 years. And then you had the Kenyara Open, which was in Masindi. So you had golfers who had to decide where they had to go. The tournaments which had the professionals were the ones in Lugazi and then the one in Kenyara. The one in Kenyara was won by Grace Kasango. But I was most keen on the Lugazi tournament because that's where next year's Uganda Open is going to be held. And Philip Kasozi emerged the champion after beating, he beat David Kamulindwa and Marvin Chimirige in a 3-man playoff. They played holes 7, 8, and 9, and Kasozi birdied 7, and then got past 8 and 9 to emerge the champion. For me, I think Philip right now is, I think, the best golfer we have in the country because Ruguma is out of but right now, the professionals in the country, Philip is in inspirational form. I mean, he's driving the ball very well. His shot game is impeccable. He's putting very well. And he seems to be in a certain zone in his head where he knows what he wants. He's told me that he wants to play in the Magical Kenya Open next year because that is the only DP World Tour event we have in this region. That's the one where Ruben made the cut last year. And Philip is amazing. I mean, he played the final round 4 under in Lugazi. Lugazi is the hardest course in the country today. Most beautiful course, but the hardest. I've played it and it's a challenging course. You play that course and you're knackered because you're walking. It's so undulating. You're walking up and down, up and down. We're talking about steep hills. Like number 14, it's a par 4 where you have to really drive the ball well. And for many golfers, including professionals, you're playing woods to approach the green and not even irons. So Philip played it 4 under. He had a bogey-free round. And I mean, he's playing terrific golf. And I think, I mean, right now, he's obviously doing his chances no harm of competing in the magical Kenya Open. Of course, we'll have to see if he can secure that qualification with the Order of Merit in the Safari Tour. In Kenyara, the amateurs tournament was won by Joseph Kasozi. That's his home course. While in Lugazi, the amateurs event was won by Joseph Regan Akena, the Uganda Open champion. But the most important thing to note in both tournaments is that for the first time, amateurs are actually getting prize money in Uganda. Previously, it's only been professionals, but amateurs are getting good money because that's one of the changes which have been embraced in Uganda to copy the Kenyan model, where the amateur calendar is more robust and more active than the one for the professionals. Mm-hmm. So you had Joseph Akena winning 2,080,000 shillings. Joseph Kasozi won, I think, 1,300,000 shillings. So beyond the world golf ranking points for them, there's some good money for the amateurs. And I think that is something which is going to instill a bit of hunger and desire amongst the amateur players to go and improve their game every day that they hit the range.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. We are on to City Oil. The City Oilers preparing. I've said this on previous episodes, but every time you have new viewers and also you have to update them. Yeah. So we have City Oilers preparing to go and play the BAL, the African Championship Elite 16 tournament in Kigali. They're going to be playing between November 28th and December 3rd. I've been to most of their practices. I was at their practice Monday morning, mid-morning to early afternoon, Monday, and Lugogo at the Lugogo Indoor Stadium. Yeah, so I was at their practice, and they're looking in better shape every time I go there. They were shooting the lights out in this one. You could think the Boston Celtics had come to Uganda. Yeah. Before they drive away, you need to go and take a look. Yeah, so they.
Why did you go to football for nutrition? It's football. You go for boxing.
He's talking basketball.
You can go, you can go to rugby. You can go to cricket for nutrition.
But look,
why basketball?
I think it's the height. Now look, City Oilers, when they compete on the African continent, are usually what we call the smallest team. When we talk small in basketball, we don't mean size in terms of bulk and all. The height factors into it because it's more important. Tall is big in basketball, and small is short. Yeah. So I was watching City.
So size matters.
Yeah. So watching City Oilers practice, and I was seeing they were shooting better. They're looking in the mode. Coach Andrew Tendo, of course, was taking them through their paces with the help of the veteran Ben Komakech. I think Komakech will not be playing this one. He'll be a coach along with Andrew Tendo. And I was saying, right, this guy's just about fit. Like I said, I'm still skeptical about how big they are. I think at Elite 16, if I look at the opposition they have in their group, they should be able to survive with just the three big men. Israel Otupo, the new Nigerian they have, Maka, if you like, the South Sudanese in their lineup, as well as Titus Luwal, who is the other big. He doesn't play real big man basketball, but he is the other guy with several inches on him, with some size. They've got some size there. Their wings are not too small, thankfully. And their guards, they're most who are going to be mostly American, are guys who can compete. They're very competitive. They're not too small. We're talking about guys who are 6'3", 6'4". As guards, there'll be Petty Parish. Somebody who was in the practice. I've been watching him because it's been here since that time. Even played for City Oil in the playoffs. But Philando Jones is here to join in. Jamil Robach had come down, did a few practices, went back to the US when the tournament was postponed, because he had to work, and so he's coming back with Philando Jones to join that roster. So they're going to have 12 men in Kigali and a 9-man roster of...
in Nairobi, actually.
Yeah?
In Nairobi. It's in Nairobi.
Early 16. They're going to have 12 men in the rotation, but 9, a 9-man, 12 men on the roster, but then perhaps a 9-man rotation, in which as I said, Philando Jones and Jamil Robach and Petty Parish will play, and
do you think there'll be Fayed Bale and Ivan Mwezi in the rotation?
Yeah, Fayed Bale, definitely in the rotation. Ivan Mwezi and Titus Luwal are the locals who I expect to be in that rotation. Okay. Because the other guy they had signed, who would definitely have made the rotation, is Peter Obleng. But Peter Obleng cannot play for them in this tournament because he played for Fox Sport basketball in an earlier round. Fox Sport are South Sudanese champions who are in this tournament. Incidentally, actually, they're going to be in the same group as City Oil for the 7-16. So you've got Fox Sport basketball from South Sudan, Orurani from Burundi, and Matero Magic from Zambia. Those are the three teams that City Oil is going to face. I fancy them to finish easily in the top 2. So you've got 8 teams that are already qualified, and then another 8 that try and fill up those slots of the Elite 16. And I think City Oil are good enough to beat all of those 3 teams in that group. It's at the next level where they should, where they will have problems, because the other bigger boys will come in. I'm talking clubs, the likes of Monastir and Al-Ali. Monastir from Tunisia, Al-Ali from Egypt. And Cape Town Tigers, teams from Angola and Senegal and Nigeria. That's where it gets tough. But now, I fancy City Oil to actually take care of business. But from what I've seen, they're looking good, they're looking fit, and they're shooting the basketball well.
All right, pearls of wisdom. I was trying to say that I find the Warriors, they have that championship DNA in them. Yeah, so it's not shaping up real good this season. It's going to be thrilling all through. And then we have Liverpool and Real Madrid. It's going to be a blockbuster, definitely. But then also don't sleep onto those other games, because it's going to be bringing drama all through Europe this week.
Well, I'm curious. Who will you be supporting? Real Madrid, Liverpool?
Real Madrid, come on, guys.
Why Real? Why Real?
Wow, okay.
Yes, and then Cup, where they're in town, I know that. I don't think they're ready, really. I guess you just have to play catch up, and...
We'll be ready. We'll be ready. We'll be ready.
All right.
We'll be ready.
Okay,
we have no option but to be ready.
Definitely, yes. Now the betting what?
Betting predictions.
We have Liverpool, Real Madrid. Let's do that.
Liverpool, Real Madrid. Oh my God. Oh my God. It doesn't get tougher than this one. Liverpool, Real Madrid. I'm going for a Real Madrid victory. It's the Champions League. It's the UEFA Champions League. I'm going for Real Madrid victory 2-1 Real Madrid.
2 being Real.
2-1 in favor of Real Madrid.
Okay.
I'm doing an X2. Do you know what X2 is? X is, the likeliness of a draw, but that if there's a victor, when I say 2, I'm going for the away win, the away team, Real Madrid. That's only because Madrid need it more than Liverpool do. Liverpool's firepower, for me, I always insist, is the best in and around Europe.
Okay.
5 of the 6 strikers they have on their books, 5 are available because Federico Chiesa is still not playing. But the other 5, the firepower is there. Some of them they've fired a bit of blanks here and there, but their ability to get the goals is amazing. And on a big European nights belong to Liverpool at Anfield, because that's where the best atmosphere anywhere in Europe is worked up. So those 2 things are in Liverpool's favor. But still, Madrid needs it so badly that they should turn up there and do something about it. I think that that would mean the 2 teams cancelling each other out for Madrid to get that draw. But if ever there was going to be a winner, I'd fancy the away team.
Okay, I'm looking at a draw 2-2. So we have Bayern Munich and PSG.
That's a huge one as well.
Yes.
This region, it's a repeat of the Champions League final, which I think Bayern won.
Yes.
By a 0-0. I think, PSG are not quite the team they were last season. I think they have goals in them, but they're not as clinical as they are without Mbappe. Bayern too need the points. I'm going for Bayern. I'm going for 2-1 Bayern.
I'm also going for a home win for Bayern. They PSG have got the ability to disappoint them or to upset them in Bakola and Kolomwani and Dembele and Lee Khan and all the guys they have in attack, as well as the guys playing out of midfield, where they have Fabian, the Frenchman, as well, no, the Spaniard Fabian, as well as Emre Zaire and all. They're really, Fabian Ruiz is the one I'm talking about, by the way. They've got a very strong squad, a strong basis of a squad. I think they have got the ability to leak goals at the back, and that should play into the hands of Jamal Musiala and Harry Kane, and Michael Olise, and
Serge Gnabry
and Leroy Sané. I think Bayern, when they're playing at home and with the options they have going forward, even Kingsley Coman, they've got 2 sets of front 3 people they can play, and when they make the subs and freshen those up and still continue to go at you with the pace at which Bayern play under Vincent Kompany, they should be able to get these points. So yeah, Bayern at home. Yeah.
Okay. Aston Villa, Juventus.
Wow. Villa have had a couple of indifferent results after having started well, but they've still done well in Europe. I think their last defeat was to Bruges after that freak mistake by Tyrone Mings, but I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I think I'll go for a stalemate.
Yeah, he's stealing my results. Because I'm going for a draw between Aston Villa and Juventus as well. Villa are not under threat of failing to qualify out of this group. They've done very well already, and should still see it through. But now the toll is beginning to it's beginning to take their toll on them. Domestic chores mixed with European chores. At the beginning of it all, they looked fresh. They are not looking that fresh at the moment. There's been a few struggles. That Premiership game against Fulham it showed. There were signs of a few cracks in there that I saw. But even when they play against Juventus, they'll still have one eye on the weekend and the Premiership, and that can begin to pile the pressure. But I don't think Juventus will still beat them at Villa Park. So, draw for me.
Draw for me too. That's 1.
1-1. Yeah.
West Ham, Arsenal.
London derby.
Wow. West Ham, Arsenal. Well, wow. London derby. I'm going for Another win. Another win for Arsenal. I'll go for a 3-1 for Arsenal.
For Arsenal.
West Ham without Mohamed Kudus are not the same team.
No, they're not, but they're desperate. And that desperation means that they're going to be very, very fierce and competitive. Arsenal are on the mend. They're beginning to look the part again now that Saka is fit and Martin Odegaard is back. Odegaard actually is somebody that has shown in the last couple of games that they actually missed him. They really missed his playmaking abilities because it gives them a totally different dimension. Having said that, I'm doing another X2. There's a possibility of a draw in this derby, but should there be a winner, that winner will be the away team, Arsenal. Yeah. But I'd fancy West Ham to breach that Arsenal backline with Mikel Antonio and Lucas Paqueta and the boys, even in the absence of Kudus. And if they defend well enough, they can keep Arsenal at bay. It's difficult. It's easier said than done. But because it's a derby, I expect they'll be up for it. So that's why I'm doing that X, the draw. But should there be a victor, I fancy Arsenal.
Well, for me, Arsenal will take it, I guess, 2-0. Then we have Manchester United, Everton.
First game for Ruben Amorim at Old Trafford. There's going to be a buzz around it. I think Amorim is getting to grips with the kind of team he wants to build in his image. I'm going for United at Old Trafford. I'm going for a 2-0 Man United.
I'm going for a home win. I think it will be closer than that. I'm going 2-1 United. I think Everton with Calvert-Lewin and Beto and the Belgian Onana out of midfield and a few others have got what it takes to compete at that level. They started the season poorly under Sean Dyche, so their results have been topsy-turvy, and they're at the wrong end of the table, but they're a better team than that. That's why I believe. I believe the same with Wolves, and Wolves have since climbed off the bottom of the table. I believe the same with Everton, but I think that Amorim's homecoming is going to be. I don't see it pan out any other way. I fancy that they'll be fitter, they'll be better with the system after another week's training, the 3-4-3, and that one or two other guys who missed out in that game will be back, especially Lisandro Martinez. But I also fancy that people like Kobe Bino and even Lenny Yoro to be involved. So United will be stronger than you saw them at Ipswich. So, yeah, home win.
Okay, but sometimes, however, to frustrate United.
They do, which is why I've gone 2-1, yeah.
I'll go for a draw, really.
Draw? Okay.
Then we have Liverpool, Man City.
Wow.
That's the hardest game prediction.
Wow.
That's the hardest game prediction.
Wow. I don't know. A City.
I'll go. I can't see Man City getting beaten in as much as the form book suggests that City should lose this game. I don't think Liverpool are going to win games forever and ever. I'm going for a high-scoring stalemate. I'm going for a 2-2.
Yeah.
That's a 1x, that's an x2. I'm going for a stalemate. 2-all draw.
But you're cheating.
With all the absentees that City have, I don't see how they can stop that Liverpool team from scoring at Anfield.
Are you suggesting that the Premiership is going to be handed over this weekend?
No.
Because if City lose, then Liverpool can as well be given the championship.
I don't think so. Not before Christmas. But even if they opened up a 10-point lead, they would still not be champions.
An 11-point lead.
They would still not be champions yet. Because there's some twists and turns.
They're not twists and turns this season. They're not twists and turns. Liverpool have gone.
I'm thinking. Now look, City lost some games in this run because teams planted the bus. And then when Spurs did not plant the bus, they beat City only because they were more clinical. City had more chances, had more possession, had more shots on goal in 23 to Spurs 8, and still lost 4-0. I don't think that kind of bad luck can continue. Where I thought that between Phil Foden and Erling Haaland, especially Haaland, they had 3 goals in that game. 3 or 4 goals in that game against Spurs, and they didn't get even one. I think at Anfield they will score What will that mean? What will that mean? Draw. They're going to cancel each other out.
3-2 draw.
Uh-huh.
And we've
What?
drawn all the way through till
A 3-0 draw.
No, 2-2.
Total draw.
All right, you have the big UPL game. That's Vipers, KCCA.
No.
No, it's next.
Sorry, it's Neck and Villa.
Neck and Villa.
Did they say Vipers?
Neck
No,
and
those ones played already.
Already go.
That was the other thrilling draw we talked about the other week, yeah. So Neck versus Villa. We have, I'm going for Villa win. Neck in the better shape. You said they're top of the second.
The second
in the table.
point behind Vipers.
Behind Vipers. I'm going for, under those circumstances, we would call it an upset. But Villa are the bigger boys, the giants and the everything. And I think they're going to win this game. Villa. I'm going for Villa win.
Neck are coached by Hussein Mbalangu, a former AC Villa player.
Yeah.
And they made some very, very shrewd buys. Paul Muchurezi, they've got Muzamiru Mutiava, who scored the win against KCCA. They've got Rothomio Cromwell, the guy they got from Vipers.
That's experience.
That's experience.
UPL experience.
UPL experience. And I mean, it's Neck are quite solid. They're quite solid, especially when they're playing at home. And remember, AC Villa actually beat Neck to win the championship. Villa themselves are coming off the back of a 6-1 drubbing of Oxo Giants in the Uganda Premier League. I'm going for a stalemate. I'm going for a 0-0 in this game.
Okay, Villa to win it 2-1 for me.
Okay. Well, on this one, maybe I will do Vipers 1, Neil in the 5.
Oh, okay.
Neck.
Sorry.
Villa? Did you say Villa or Viper? Or Neck? Villa?
No, I think she's supposed to say Villa. That's what she's.
Yeah.
No, we've spoken UJ. I think that's the thing that now is in my head.
Yes. AC Villa. Okay, very good. That's a very good, a very good choice. Wonderful choice.
Okay, every time I'm here, I'm learning. Yeah. They give me uniform. Now last week I got a sweater. It's gonna be those good statements. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. It's always lovely to have you. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. Even right now, you can write something down below. Yeah, and stay tuned. Thank you. Till next time.